Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Dawson County Board of Commissioners voting session. Today is Thursday, December the 3rd, 2020. Appreciate your attendance, and we also appreciate all those people that are with us online. We'll start out with a roll call. And you can see that we're all here. Next, we'll have a brief invocation and pledge, so I'd ask you to please stand. And if you would, bow your heads, please. Our dear gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this another day and for all the blessings of life. We thank you for a wonderful Thanksgiving with our family and friends. We pray, Lord, that you would give us knowledge and wisdom to carry out the business of this great county. Anything that we accomplish, we'll give you the honor and glory. For in Christ's name we do ask and pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll move on to announcements. I'm going to ask Miss Christy Moore to come up. If you have not heard, we're losing Miss Christy. And so she wanted to have an opportunity tonight to come by and speak to the board. And so Christy.
So this evening I had to write this down because I will say, as I was sitting here, I was going through a lot of things in my memory. And as Sharon mentioned, that seems like so long ago that we passed that SPLOST, and sitting down to think through what those projects were going to be and to see all these projects come to fruition. So I wanted to write this down because I know I might get a little emotional, but I asked for a quick moment tonight, not in an official capacity. I'm just here as Christy Moore, Dawson County resident, but I wanted to publicly make sure that I thanked you, because for 8.5 years, I've sat in countless meetings with y'all, both voting and work sessions. Some of y'all previously, before you were on the commission, when you were working with the county, we've sat through many a meeting, budget hearings, SPLOST meetings, long-range planning meetings, you name it. We have sat through them together. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for the time and energy you commit to making this community great. I think there aren't many citizens who really see the sacrifices that you make or the sacrifices that your families make, because I've seen you spend hours researching topics ranging from zoning issues to park planning to road improvements, and I've seen you agonize over tough decisions. And I want to really say thank you for that, because I know it is not easy to sit in your seat. I've never sat in it, but just from the sidelines and being as involved as we have been with y'all, I know that is so difficult. We've not always agreed or even been on the same side, but I want to publicly state how much it's appreciated that you earnestly listen and are always trying to do what you believe is best for the citizen. And I truly believe that. In my time here, I have unfortunately seen a small group of people get louder and louder who have denigrated you and questioned some of your motives, as well as even implied that you're on the take, which you see me rolling my eyes, because they should be ashamed. And I kind of wanted to come publicly say that tonight, because again, we haven't always agreed, but in my time here, I have to say you're some of the finest public servants I've ever had the opportunity to work with. And I feel privileged to have spent this time with y'all and to call you friends. And so I want that to be said loud and clear to those people, even though they're a small minority. Thank you for those things that we have worked on. While I officially transition my new role in Valdosta at the end of this month, I'm going to continue to watch as you work to ensure that Dawson County is a place where quality of life matters, because I know each of you very well, and I know that is a top priority for you. I'm so proud of what we have been able to accomplish, like SPLOST and many other things in my tenure at the chamber. And I know that y'all have played a huge role in that, and it wouldn't be possible. And I was also thinking through tonight all the times I've been before you about tourism and how far we've come and just all the great things we've really been able to accomplish. And I know that's going to be furthered by whoever comes after me. Our staff is going to be thrilled about it, I know. But I did just want to take a moment of your time. I know it's been a long meeting, so I apologize for that, to really thank you. Also have to thank Commissioner Gaines because he has served as the chamber liaison this whole time and has really spent a lot of hours on the phone with us working through business issues. And of course, I could go down the line and say things about each of y'all. Commissioner Fawcett and I had a good cry on the phone the other day. So we have a lot of great memories. And I do just want to thank you for what you have done, for the time that you've put in, both for our business community, but our citizens at large, because people don't see what you do. And I do also just have to take a moment to applaud your staff, because we've all been through a lot. Multiple people in this room were in different positions when I started. And so we've all been through a lot, and they are the best. And I'm anxious but excited about the new role, but sad to be leaving y'all. So thank you so much for the past 8.5 years. I really appreciate it. And I hope you'll stop by and visit anytime you drive down 75. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Christy.
If you don't mind. I'll say this, that it has been my pleasure over the past 4 years that I've been privileged to serve as commission chairman, to work with you side by side and discuss ideas with you for the betterment of Dawson County. And you will be greatly missed. And so appreciate everything that you've done for the past 8.5 years for the chamber, as well as all the citizens of Dawson. So we'll kind of get some kind of a cool bit thing here. Get a picture. What do you need, Miss Laura?
I actually have all of them.
All right.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. All right, Miss Laura, I'll call on you to make some announcements that things that are going on. So if you didn't hear it a while ago, then hear it.
Thank you. Good afternoon. As Vicki just mentioned a few minutes ago, there's just a couple of activities that are going on this week and in the future with the county. Senior Services, they are at this time doing their holiday gift certificates where you can purchase a certain amount, and that can be donated to seniors to receive their delivered meals. The Public Affairs, we did kick off the December with the 25 Days of Christmas, the Fire Safety and Prevention Edition on Tuesday. There will be social media posts that have educational activities for children that relate to fire safety and prevention. And they will be posted to the fire prevention website as well. And that will go through December 25th. And then last, the Good Shepherd Clinic, they are offering free flu shots starting at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Fridays in December for December 4th, 11th, and 18th. And this service is available to adults who are uninsured and live in Dawson County. No appointment is needed. Just stop by the clinic at the days and times mentioned, and they are located behind Burger King off of Highway 53.
Ma'am.
Thank you.
No, Ms. Vicki made those announcements at our 4 o'clock work session. We wanted to make sure that we reiterated all of that for those people who joined us just for our voting session so that everyone is informed. All right, next up, we have approval of the minutes. First up, we have the minutes of the work session held on November the 19th, 2020. Any additions or deletions? Motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 4-0. Next up, we have the minutes of the voting session held on November 19th, 2020. Any additions or deletions? Motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Nix. Seconded by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 4-0. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Do have 3 items to add to the agenda. First item is under new business, purchase of a ladder truck. The Harry Sosby Lee Castleberry right-of-way acquisition, and the D53 settlement agreement. So I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda with those three changes.
Make a motion, Chairman, that we adopt the agenda with the mentioned changes.
Motion by Commissioner Gaines,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 4-0. The agenda is adopted with those three additional changes. No one signed up for public. Well, we got public, nobody signed up for public comment in this particular section. We'll move on to public hearing. This is the third of three hearings for the proposed FY 2021 budget. The first hearing was held on November 19th, 2020. The second hearing was held today at our work session. This is the third and final hearing in reference to the 2021 budget. After this public hearing, you will have the ability, if you so desire, to vote on a 2021 budget. In our work session, there were several items discussed in reference to changes to the proposed budget. At this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Vicky to go over those with you and give you the dollar. Ms. Vicky.
Can you hear me if I sit here? Because if I unplug, my computer will die. I'm sorry.
What did you say?
Just speak loud.
Okay, I will. All right, here are the changes. An addition of $192,763 for the 2% increase. $5,125 for the upgrade to the chief building official. $18,500 for the aerial
Photography.
flyover
Eagle view.
Yes.
Eagle.
72,000 for the principal planner position, 20,000 for the Good Shepherd Clinic, $7,500 for Avita, and that's a total change of $315,888. So that change will increase general fund to $30,788,031. And then all funds will, including general fund, is all of our funds that we budgeted for, will bring that to $47,399,332.
Questions for Ms. Vicky?
How much did you say Good Shepherd? Was that 20?
20,000.
That's,
Is that a $17,000 change from what we had in the budget?
yes, yes, you
Okay.
had 3,000.
So, okay. Thank you, Ms. Vicky. Before I open up this third and final public hearing, any other discussion in reference to any item in the budget?
Ms. Vicky, I don't know, we don't have a number yet, probably won't have a number until March. Do we know what's coming back into the budget? I mean, as far as general fund? Brother,
I'm expecting an increase in fund balance of about $1 million.
Okay.
Don't hold me to that, because there can be a lot of changes. I know last year I was expecting one number, and then the auditors came in and made a change.
Yeah.
So, but I do expect us to see an increase.
okay. So it should keep our fund balance about the same percentage, roughly,
Yes.
maybe even increased it a little bit.
I think we may see an increase, but
Okay. Thank you.
And I don't know if you've done the calculations yet, but fund balance going and adding in the 315,888 in addition to what the chairman's already proposed, what does that put our fund balance percentage at?
it'll change it. I think I said originally it was at 17.
Yeah.
I think it'll be like 16.9 or 17. I think it was 17.3 and just change 16.9.
1%, yeah, 1/10. Sure.
And that would be associated with us using all of the 2020
Right.
fund balance,
Yeah, we're not.
which we probably will not
Yeah.
have.
Mhm.
All right, thanks. All right, any other? Before I open this up to the public hearing. All right. All right, so at this time, I'll open up this hearing for the proposed FY 2021 budget. Anyone here wishing to speak on the proposed FY 2021 budget? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, I'll close that hearing. I want to just kind of run through. So if you decide, if the board decides to vote, you'll be voting on all of the line items that we have. So I'm going to go through all of those for you so that you'll know what you're voting on. The Dawson County General Fund, which is our daily operation fund. Ms. Vicky gave you that 30 million plus dollar number there. The Date Fund, which is recommended at 30,000. The Jail Fund, which is recommended at 39.5. The LVAP Crime Victims Fund, which is 17,750. The Law Library, which is 24,360. We do have a fire and ESA donation account, but those numbers are not added until we actually have donations that go in those. So you'll see that that's blank. Family Connection at $222,050. Inmate Welfare Fund at $85,000. The DA Forfeiture Fund at $3,000. Confiscated Assets, Dawson County Sheriff's Office, $10,700. Emergency 911 Fund, $1,016,408. We did have CARES funding in this past budget. Obviously, unless they reappropriate some of that, we will not have that in the current 2021 budget. Multiple grants, $2,470,105, which is our grant fund. Hotel motel tax, $450,000. We won't have any more Splosh 4 or Splosh 5. Splosh 6, $8,985,000. Capital projects, $659,445. The Pauline Ivy Senior Center is complete, so that fund has been depleted. There won't be any in that. Solid Waste Enterprise, $693,674. The DCAR GIS Enterprise, which would be $62,613, but with that additional $18,000 for that would go into that particular fund at that particular time. With your approval, Fleet Fuel and Maintenance Fund, $337,979. The Inmate Escrow, $80,000. Impact Fees, $1.25 million. And I think there's some more, but I've lost my other piece of paper. Oh, here we go. The total for that, Miss Vicky, was what, 47?
47, 399,
399,
330.
$332.
Okay. So what's the pleasure of the board?
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the budget as amended and the items we added tonight,
Okay. And the total of 47?
47 million, what was it,
399.
399, 332.
Okay, so a motion by Commissioner Satterfield. Do I have a second?
Now, wait just a minute. Does that, that includes all you listed a while ago?
Yes.
The 2%,
Yes.
and we got the 105%, 105.
Yes, that was already in the budget.
Okay, okay. I second it.
All right, so a motion is seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that budget is approved 4-0. Want to especially thank you, the board, for your hard work on that. Thank the staff for all that they've done. A special thank you to Miss Vicky and her staff for all the hard work that they do and all the time that they have to put up with me throughout this process. Appreciate their hard work and diligence to get a budget put together for our citizens. All right, we'll move on to the unfinished business. ZA 20-15. Arkham Valquez request to rezone tax map parcel L15-1 116009 from RA Residential Agriculture to Commercial Highway Intensive for the purpose of opening a landscape supply business. That's on Highway 53 East. This was tabled from the November 19th, 2020 voting session, at which time we had the public hearing. So there will not be a public hearing. We've already had that. Our planning director, Jameson, was going to find out some information for you, and he has done so. And so Jameson, come forward and tell them what you found out.
Thank you, Chairman. So 2 weeks ago, we heard ZA 2015. And as you know, you asked me to go visit Mr. Velasquez on site, and which we did. And we talked about several stipulations that he would be willing to agree to. One was an additional 10-foot planted screen buffer is to be applied to the northern portion of the property that is adjacent to the residential neighborhood. This is to be per specs of the Dawson County Buffer Landscape and Tree Ordinance in order to reduce or eliminate noise or visual effects that may negatively impact the residential area. We took a look at that where he has it was already graded. It's a pretty steep drop off. So if he were to plant that buffer right there, it would screen from the residents. Obviously right now it's leaf off season. So you can see forever through the woods, but that would dramatically affect, the neighbors and how they view his property. And I think that's an excellent stipulation. He also agreed to another stipulation, which I have written down as, with the exception of the entrance to the property, an undisturbed buffer of 50 feet from the property line fronting 53 is to be adhered to. This is to help screen drivers along 53 from any unwanted visual effects, including tractor trailers. So Mr. Velasquez was nice enough to actually park a tractor trailer out there so we could see it. And you can see it from the road. It's not extremely visible because as you know, people driving down 53, that's right as you come down the hill after you go across the Ward Hill intersection. Majority of the trees are in the first 50 feet of the property. And I think if we leave that kind of area undisturbed, the rest of it should provide a significant screening for the drivers along 53. And that will play in line with our 53 corridor overlay that we are about to bring before the board. So at this time, I'll entertain any questions.
Questions for James?
Yeah, I drove by. I mean, you got to just about stop or slow down, and you can see a corner of one of the. You can't see the whole thing.
What kind of trees are the 10-foot buffer? What did you say about the 10-foot buffer on the northern side?
Just that it has to be per the specs of our Dawson County Buffer Landscape or Tree Ordinance, which applies for a variety of different types of trees, most of them native to Dawson County. And it talks about that buffer and how close they are and how far they are apart. It's just our generic specs of our buffers.
Put up a leaving cypress and you'll have them so big in no time.
Yes,
You can't see anything. So anyway, okay.
Thanks, James. All right, as I've said, we've already had the hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion to approve ZA 20-15 with the additional stipulations.
All
Do I need
right,
to read those stipulations or,
James,
He just,
yeah, the
Yeah.
additional stipulations that Jameson read into the record earlier.
okay. Motion for approval by Commissioner Gaines,
second,
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0 with the additional stipulations read by our planning director, Jameson.
I appreciate how cooperative he has been. He is, yeah, in that night, he's really worked with you and us and that's great. That's great. Thank you.
We'll move on to new business. First up, we have consideration of IFB 371-20 standby road striping award recommendation. David presented that. I think the name of it was Peak
Mm-hmm.
is his recommendation, and obviously that comes out of his budget as he needs it. It's not something he does every day, but as he needs it. So any other information needed in reference to that? Motion,
Motion approved,
the
the
recommendation
recommendation.
from, okay. So we have a motion from Commissioner Satterfield,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Nix. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 4-0. Next up, we have consideration to move forward with public hearings for residential planned community zoning district road maintenance. David brought that to us a couple of weeks ago. We have some, obviously, discrepancy in some of our zoning categories when it comes to road maintenance. And so tonight you'd be voting to have a public hearing to hear from your citizens of what their thought process on any particular change might be. So I'm always for listening to the public and hearing from them. So what's your pleasure?
I make a motion that we move forward with the public hearing.
Okay,
Hearings.
motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0. And so we will set up that public hearing for that. All right, move on to request to purchase the ladder truck. You heard that at our 4 o'clock session. That's approximately $1.2 million. We talked about the funding source for that being SPLOST 6 excess funding. I know we also talked about lease and that, and then paying that with that excess funds if it materialized. So I'll entertain a motion, and the main thing is to actually get our name on this truck so that it doesn't go away. I'll entertain a motion that encompasses all of that.
So we can't have discussion, do we have to have the motion?
Well, I mean, you can have any other information needed.
I just,
Yes,
I guess the financing part of it.
me too.
I don't know if we need to lock it down now as far as, or just approval with 3 options for financing.
Now, we have all kind of options, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think,
Do they give us a time period once we say we want it? How does that work?
I think if we vote to approve it, we'd have to direct Vicky to get with Melissa and send a letter or a PO.
That's correct. We would have to, I guess, issue a letter to Ken.
Okay. Okay.
So there could be potentially, to your point, a motion to approve the purchase of this particular unit with one of 3 options or a combination of any, one being straight purchase out of SPLOST 6, as long as it's legal.
and it
Second
is-
option would be to engage in a lease agreement via the finance department to find the best rate on a lease that works best to spread that payment out. Or number 3, I guess,
Just
would be
split,
general
pay for it.
fund, you know,
pay for it.
I don't really, yeah, that would be worst case scenario, I think. So that would, I mean, that's essentially our 3 options, I would assume, correct?
What are you thinking? You look worried.
Oh, no,
She worries every time I
It
say
scares
something.
me when the,
No, I'm not worried. I was just trying to think all the options. Is Chief Thompson still here? Yes. How many days, like if we give them a PO or tell them that we want to buy it, how long do we have before we have to come up with the money?
yes.
Probably
To give
45
us a
days,
little
40 to
time.
60 days with it.
Yeah, so I would have to check with Pierce on that, but Pierce, if you remember, several years ago, when we bought 2 fire trucks, we sent a letter of intent with that PO, and Pierce turned around on the backside, and they issue an internal PO, basically holding the apparatus so it doesn't sail.
Way.
And that gives us the opportunity to choose whether you're going to do the lease purchase,
Mhm.
go with SPLOST 6, however that you decide to fund it. But it kind of gives us that couple of weeks, and I've already spoke with them briefly about that in between sessions. And so I think we've got a little bit of time if we choose to Sounds like the lease purchase was where, but
But just as a safety net, I mean, otherwise you can write a check for it. We just reimburse you at the time.
I mean, you don't issue the check till you sign off of acceptance.
Usually you get the check when you receive the vehicle.
Right.
That's how we did it last time.
Okay.
And what I'd like to do is check these different funding sources and,
Yes.
and see
Yeah.
what the interest rate would be, calculate the costs
Yeah.
involved, and then you all can make that decision if you want to just buy it outright or
Mhm.
incur those extra costs.
But we can go ahead and approve those various options legally tonight, pick the best option that works via.
Well,
finance.
Whichever is the best option.
Yeah, I mean, I might say just authorize them to proceed with purchasing and then formally choose your financing once you know more.
Right. right. Once
Authorized
we get all the
to,
information.
and send, and direct staff to send that letter or PO.
Correct.
Okay, letter of intent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So then we'll have to vote on the financing later.
Okay.
That's it, because we don't have all the information.
Right. Okay, thank you.
He's going back there. He's reaching for his checkbook. I keep watching him.
All right. So you've heard. What's your motion?
Motion to approve the purchase of the ladder truck and direct staff to send that letter of intent or PO and
Looking at
discuss, I
funding
guess,
source.
sir,
And to look into the funding source.
funded sources later.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Satterfield,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 4-0.
Good. Something just to point out to note that if we are able to purchase this out of Splosh, that's another just key thing and the benefit of what Splosh does and able to purchase that
Absolutely.
apparatus.
And I feel
You
very
put in
comfortable.
a little and look
Sam?
what the benefits you reap.
But Mr. Chairman, can I
Yes.
just get a clarification? The request was not only for the purchase of the truck, but $200,000 of equipment. So is that, just to clarify, that motion?
That was the total
included-
amount, yeah.
Total amount.
Okay,
Okay.
1.2 million, right at 1.2 million, yes.
1.19 something.
Better come filled up
1.198
with a tank of gas too.
at least, and put some water in. All right, next up. Harry Sosby, Lee Castleberry right-of-way acquisition. David presented that to you. That's been donated, so we would basically be accepting that right-of-way acquisition into the county. Sam?
And approving formally the purchase agreement that is in your packet.
Okay. Motion,
Make a motion to approve
the right-of-way
right away
and then the purchasing
acquisition.
contract.
Yes.
Purchasing contract.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Gaines,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Nix. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 4-0. Lastly, we have the D53 LLC settlement agreement. Sam?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'll just briefly summarize the history of this dispute and then what is in the settlement agreement. So in 2019, late 2019, there was a property owner, D53 LLC, which owns about 25 acres of property on the corner of Lumpkin Campground Road North and Highway 53 East. They had applied for a rezoning from commercial home business to residential multifamily. The county denied their rezoning application and they filed suit. And this settlement agreement is to at least temporarily resolve that. What would happen would be that their lawsuit would be stayed, no further action, just kind of sits on ice while we take the additional step of initiating a county-initiated rezoning of the property, subject to various conditions, which I'll summarize. Do you have a copy of the settlement agreement in front of you?
Nope, we passed it around.
Okay. I'm happy to pass around, but I asked because
You gonna read it?
there's a site plan on the last page. And one of the
It was sent to you
stipulations.
by email.
One of the stipulations is that they develop the site in conformance with the site plan on the last page of that agreement. The owner will construct a left turn lane on State Route 53 in front of the property. They will construct a road connecting Lumpkin Campground Road to Prestige Lane. They will simultaneously develop the commercial and residential elements of this project. And they will not begin vertical construction, or they will not be issued certificates of occupancy for a portion of the residential until they begin vertical construction on the commercial. Those points are to make sure that they don't just do the residential and back out of the commercial. And then that they will donate additional 20 feet of right-of-way along Lumpkin Campground Road. So those are the basic terms of this settlement. Again, if you approve this settlement, their lawsuit will be stayed and you will initiate a county-initiated zoning that doesn't bind you to approve their project. It just binds you to have the zoning hearing and consider it further.
The zoning hearing would come back to just the Board of Commissioners, wouldn't have to go back through the Planning Commission? Or would it? I
I'm not sure about that.
think we talked about that, so we'll double check on that right there. So you've heard the,
Jameson said no.
huh?
Jameson said it wouldn't, it would not.
Come back to the board. That's what I thought. I just want to make sure. All right. What's the pleasure of the board?
I got one thing that I want to clarify. One B says owner shall construct a left turn lane from the end of the existing turn lane at 53. Okay, I thought it said on 53, so it's on Lumpkin Campground. Okay.
I think it was misquoted. I was on.
Yeah, so that is the frontage along Lumpkin Campground from 53 to, it just didn't say Lumpkin Campground, it said 53, so that threw me off. Okay, I'm good. I forgot what you said.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the settlement agreement.
All right, motion to approve by Commissioner Satterfield. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0. So that will be set up for a hearing or another zoning hearing before the commission. That is all we have. Thank you.
Sir, we do have one public comment.
Okay, one public comment.
Christie.
Christie. Come up here.
You got to see us again.
So tomorrow, all the Christmas festivities were supposed to happen in downtown, and the chamber has a parade and Jingle Market, and the city does their lighting for the whole community. Unfortunately, it's supposed to pour most of tomorrow. So we have moved the festivities to Saturday. We're doing our best to have the parade at 4 p.m. The lighting will be at 6. Pictures with Santa, I believe, will be at 4:30, and there will still be food trucks and vendors around the City Hall area. So hopefully everyone will still come out, but if anyone asks you, that's all been moved to Saturday. But that's it.
Thank you. No one else?
No, sir.
All right, thanks. Right, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you for your attendance. Thank to you that are online with us as well.